of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 19, 2018, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building.
Thank you, April. Could everybody stand and join me in saluting the flag of our great nation? I pledge allegiance. Everybody can just remain standing for a minute for our troops, their families, and our first responders. And also, Dirk Reitzman had passed away since our last meeting. He was the owner of DJ Cycles in Belmar and lived in Belmar for a long time. So we just want to remember him. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go right into the workshop. There's a couple things that are on for tonight. One of them is I want to talk about is the parking meters down the beach. We had put it on last meeting because there was a little bit of an issue with the way the parking meters work down at the beachfront. With the judge's ruling, every dollar that's made with the parking meters has to go to the beach utility as long as the beach is open. So that gives us just a couple hours for the parking meters to go into the parking authority. Our issue with those parking meters was that most of the money that went into the beach didn't cover the expenses. The expenses were coming out of the parking authority. So there was a lot of monies back and forth, but what it was going to be was the taxpayers were going to have to supplement the parking authority the way it was set up because of the meters. So after we really took a serious look at it, and we figured out even if we went to $2, most of that money is still going to the beach, the beach utility. So. And if we passed it tonight, we would only have 8 days left of the summer by the time you wait to 20 days to put it into effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull that tonight, and we're going to table that, and we're going to look at it over the off season and figure out how we could do it. Now, how we could do it is one of two ways. Either we could just make the hours for the parking meters the same hours as the beach, and let the beach handle everything, expenses, all that, instead of having it, because very little money comes out of the beach utility to handle the expenses, and that's the problem that we're having. And I definitely don't want the taxpayers to have to supplement the meters down the beach. And it gets a little bit confusing, but we've talked about it. Since there's only going to be 8 days left in the summer, we're going to table that, and we're going to redo the whole thing and try to get it the right way for next summer. So tonight, we're going to be tabling that ordinance. The other one I want to talk about, before I move on, anybody have any questions about that?
No, I think you handled it very well.
Tom, anything? No. Anything on this, the $2 parking? Okay. And the other thing that we're going to probably carve out, and we're going to vote on that separately, is if anybody's seen Resolution 166, it is, and I'm going to go along and explain some of this, but we're going to pull it out this way in case anybody has any questions on it. It's a resolution that we're passing to take a look at the developers that want to come into town, and they're looking to develop and looking to do parking garages and different things in the borough. So what we want to do is all of us want to be above board. We're not going to do anything behind closed doors. We're going to ask for proposals from everybody that's interested in doing it. We're going to do it at council meetings. That's why we're going out tonight. We're going to ask for proposals from all these developers that want to do different things, parking garages. One of the developers is looking at to run a New York Waterways boat from here for commuters into Manhattan. They're looking for a parking garage. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all their proposals, whether they're good, bad, or anything. We could say it's not good for Belmar, we're not doing it, or we could take a look at something that we really want to take a look at. But they're going to come to these council meetings, and they're going to propose it, because we're not going to do anything behind closed doors to take a look. That's why this resolution's on tonight. We're going to ask for proposals for everybody that's asking questions about, would we consider this, or would we consider that? So we're going to move on that, and we'll ask for them, and I think, we'll take a look. If they're good, they're good. If they're bad, we don't want them. Whatever's good for Belmar, that's what we're looking to do, but we don't want to do it behind closed doors. We want to do it at these council meetings. They're going to present them, and we'll take a look at each one of their proposals to see if we think it's good for Belmar. So that's why this one is on tonight, and I don't know if I covered everything, but does anybody have any questions on that?
I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank the borough attorney. I think the RFP is really well put together, really is. One of the things I like about it is it's very specific about any project that's being proposed has to follow the Seaport redevelopment guidelines that we already have. And if they want to do something different, they have to explain why that would be better. Why, I'm sure they would say, we know why it's necessary. My one thing is I want to make sure we understand, the public would have a chance to have input on whatever we would be looking at too.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's really important. People need to realize that none of this is a done deal. It's just the beginning of a process, and there will be ample time for the public to comment on whatever we're looking at. Thanks.
Also, these bids are not binding, so nothing is binding. It's just, we're just looking, we just want to see what's out there, and we're not going to do anything unless it is going to help Belmar, it's going to help the taxpayers, and like Mark said, everything's going to be open and above board. So that's where we stand. Thank you.
Tom, anything? Yeah, and that's the reason why we're doing it this way. I mean, there's been developers questioning, so we're going to open it up. We're going to have public discussion on it. We're going to take a look at it, and we could reject everything that's out there, but we'll take a. I think it in the best interest of Belmar, we'll take a look, and that's exactly what I told all these developers. They can put in their proposals. We'll take a look at them. If we think it's good, we'll move forward. If we think it's bad, they're out. So this is nothing binding. All we're doing is requesting proposals to see what they got in store for us. So I think that's all I have on workshop. Anybody else have anything to talk about? Okay. All right, we'll move on. Anybody in the audience have petitions? All right, seeing none. April approval of minutes.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Okay, reports of council. Councilman Carvelli.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I have a few things here from the past couple of weeks. 2 Saturdays ago, the mayor, several members of the council, along with the BBP, welcomed the steak stand to town at their ribbon cutting. They did put a lot of work into fixing up their storefront there, so wishing them luck here in Belmar. I've started my video restaurant tour with multimedia director John Sabia. So on a regular basis, we're going to be going around to different eating establishments and featuring their food and menu items. Last week we were just at Jersey Shore Barbecue. That'll be hitting social media soon. So just keep an eye out for those. And it's just a good way for the businesses in town to get exposure. 2 weeks ago, Councilman McCracken and I spent about 4 hours with DPW Director Mike Campbell. We toured various facilities throughout town, got a better understanding for the breadth and depth of the DPW's responsibilities. I would say that, both of us were impressed to see how quickly things move, how organized the operation is, and how dedicated the DPW team is to keeping things moving smoothly and keep the town operating. One thing, though, I could note is that I was surprised at the sheer number of phone calls Mike handled in the 4 hours that I was there with him. And these are all sorts of things, everything from the EPA calling to talk about the endangered bird nests on the beach and giving them approval to take down the ropes or, however that is managed, to working with the DOT to set work times that so they don't back up the marina while they do work over there. So just wanted to thank Director Campbell for his time, and also for all of the DPW employees for all that they do and for keeping it together. And one last thing that I have is that we're getting ready to get the Police Explorer program started up again. It's going to be for grades 6 through 9. Letters are going to go out to all the children, and it's a way for us to expose the children to career paths and emergency services. So, like I said, as the school year gets going, we're going to be sending out letters to the children to participate in that program, and I guess we'll also be looking for some parent volunteers to help out with that. And that is my report.
Thank you, Councilman Carvelli. Councilwoman Juan.
Thank you, Mayor. Turn on mic. There we go. Thank you, Mayor. Along the same lines with DPW, I've gotten a lot of calls pertaining to small sinkholes, whether it's that, any kind of problem. Whenever I've called DPW, it's amazing, and my response from the residents usually is, I can't believe it happened so quickly. They do go out and take care of things extremely fast. Also, I want to thank code enforcement. There was a spot on, I believe it was K Street and Route 35 where I almost got hit. It's two-lane coming north, and the car has to come out quite a bit, and he was out so close, and I had a car on my left. Honest to God, sorry, Drew, I did close my eyes at one point. It was scary. And that was taken care of immediately. So I want to thank them very much. Thank Frank for taking care of that. I've noticed a lot of people fishing around Silver Lake. Anything exciting, Mike?
Yeah, actually, Silver Lake was stocked after Sandy. The state came down, did a survey, and they did stock it then. And this year, more than ever, if you drive around Silver Lake, there's especially a lot of families, a lot of people with their young, whether it's grandchildren, children, friends, neighbors. They are, a lot of fishing is going on there. So again, I know we spoke in the park yesterday at the marina, and you asked me to look at stocking that. So I did reach out to the state. I've had conversations with Mr. Kirschenbaum and the mayor also. The state is going to come down in September and do a survey again. They're going to test our water. And they said if they can do it, it would be either at the late fall or in the beginning of the spring. We are asking that they stock the lake again, and it is no cost to the residents other than your state dollars at work, but no additional cost for us to come in. And I just think it's a great thing. And I will tell you, as DPW, with all the guys that we have, and they do a tremendous job, and I thank you all for noting that, but it's the guys that do the work. But when they're down there cleaning the Lake Como, or Silver Lake, we walk that every day, we clean it every day, and the fishing people that are down there, I don't want to say fishermen, the fishing people that are down there absolutely clean up after themselves. They take their garbage away, you bring it in, they take it out. I think it's a great thing for Belmar. It's great to see the families down there enjoying the parks. We have a beautiful playground down there now. So again, as you discussed yesterday, I did call the state. We do have a person I spoke to. His name is Sean. He's one of the biologists at the state, and he is absolutely going to see if he can get us more fish so that this continues for the next couple of years.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, I have you. I just have a question from
Sure.
a resident. When the street sweepers go by, is there a reason why they don't wait later in the morning till the cars are gone? Or-
What's later mean? What time are you talking
Well,
about?
like after 7?
Yes, there is, because after 7, half their day is over. The sweepers
Gotcha.
come in between 3:30 and 4 in the morning. We do the plaza, we do the marina, we do Main Street, then we do Ocean Avenue, and then the last half, we jump on the routes that we have for the day. And in Belmar, the street sweeper goes 7 days a week, as long as it's running. So we get all of our routes sometimes twice to make sure that we have a clean town. But if I don't go on Ocean Avenue, the plaza, or the marina, or Main Street that early in the morning, we are not going to get it done because people start moving in and then you can't get to the curbs and you can't keep it clean. So if it does, create a problem for residents, I apologize, but that is as close to perfect as we can get with getting everything done and clean. It's unfortunate, and believe me, my guys don't like getting in at 3:30 in the morning, but
Yeah.
it has to be done that way during the summer. During the winter, we back off a little bit and go during regular hours because the streets, parking is a little bit less crowded, so,
Thank you very much, Mike.
all right.
Okay. And the other committees that I belong to haven't had meetings this summer. We're going to start up again in September. And community policing is running wonderfully. I just have to say, over the last time we did it, over 20 years ago, I think what's really helped improve is the advances in technology over the years, so that we have great communication now. And it's been a positive experience. We're going to wrap everything up after Labor Day before we go into then the winter process for the community policing. So we're going to analyze all the information that we've had, and we're going to let you know how it worked out. That's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Council President Brennan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got an email from Ed Lippincott, who's the chair of the Environmental Commission. The Shark River Cleanup Coalition is having a kayak sup land cleanup on, where's that date? Saturday, August 17th, 9 a.m. You go to Memorial Park in Neptune City, like refreshments. If you have a boat, you can just paddle right over if you want to do that. They're definitely looking for volunteers. And it's a great way to get out on the water, especially, on the weekend. And the only other thing I wanted to say is, for those of you who have seen my wife, I want to say how much I appreciate all your kind words and sympathy. She broke her arm when we were hiking in the mountains, and she's been pretty tough about it. I got to tell you, I mean, she was on the top of the mountain, she fell, she broke her arm, and she had to hike 4 more miles back down the mountain, and she did it. And my wife is Wonder Woman. So thank you for all the kind words. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing that I have to report on, except for saying about all our employees this summer, I mean, the weekends have been great, and we've been having good weather this summer, and all the employees have been really stepping up. Police department, DPW, everybody down at the beach. They've really been doing a good job, and us as council members up here really do appreciate it, because the town does look good. They're moving the people on and off the beach, moving people in and out of town, so I really do appreciate it, as long as with everybody else up here. The other thing that I have is on August 30th, our Congressman Chris Smith from Washington has passed a legislation to dedicate our post office in Belmar to Dr. Walter McPhee. And he was a scientist for 41 years, and he was one of the guys that was able to create the microwaves so that the Apollo mission could go to the moon. And so they're going to be dedicating our post office to him, because he worked right out here at Camp Evans for like 41 years designing that. And so they're going to come up here on August 30th at 11 o'clock to dedicate our post office to him. Our congressman has been going around dedicating post offices to really special individuals that did a lot of work. So we welcome that, and he'll be here on August 30th. If anybody's around at 11 o'clock and want to come up and see that, it should be nice to see. The other thing is that the tourism has been working on, and I don't think anybody mentioned, was October 6th, instead of doing the fall festival, it looks like they're gonna change it up and do a food truck festival, so on Main Street, instead of doing the fall festival. So that should be a little bit different this year. And I think that's all I have for right now. So we're good. All right. We'll move on to public session on any of the resolution items. All right. Seeing none. April?
Okay, motion to close the public session.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm going to recuse myself for this first resolution.
All right.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing issuance of plenary retail consumption license for DCG DCJ Belmar Incorporated. This is the 507 Main Pocket License.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Juan? Yes. Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
That's it. Just
Come on
one.
up, Tom.
Okay. And then can we have a motion to amend the consent agenda to remove Resolution 2019-166?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then a motion to adopt the consent agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
Councilwoman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
And then a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-166, authorizing advertisement for requests for proposals for the redevelopment of the Belmar Municipal Building and parking lot.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second? Okay, Councilwoman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Okay, that's it for the resolutions. First ordinance is second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 2019-25. This is establishing a development fee ordinance for affordable housing. Does anyone from the public want to comment on this ordinance?
Yes, Mr. Kramer. Drew, you just want to hand him the microphone? Yep. Thanks.
Eugene Creamer, Fourth Avenue. I request a change to the wording of the ordinance. The word "may" is used in the proposed ordinance that you have in front of you. I think that's a bad choice of words. For the
We
regular-
did change it. It's shall now.
Oh,
We did change it on your recommendation, and we took a look at it. It is correct, Mr. Dasty? We did change it.
The original round of agenda thing, but it is changed to say shall now.
There's a copy of it in the lobby on the table.
Okay, thank you very much. The other comment that I was going to make was you may want to give some consideration to the selection of the percentage that's used in the calculation of the fees. You saw that Wall Township and Spring Lake have the maximum fee for if a developer doesn't follow the zoning of the town to 6%. I'm not sure what's in the final proposed ordinance that you have now, but I would certainly recommend that Belmar likewise change the percentage fee to 6%.
Don't we have that already?
After the last meeting, I spoke with a fella at DCA. It's 3% is the maximum. If they go in for what we call a D variance or a use variance. The example that you were looking at, now maybe it's not articulate, maybe it's not worded as articulate it could be, but it talked about 2 units at 6%. It's 3% per unit. And we confirmed that with DCA, and that's what the ordinance says.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, let me consider another potential change. The 1.5%, if a developer, and a developer here could be anybody that owns residential property in Belmar, if they comply with the zoning and don't increase the density, 1.5% is the maximum amount. Perhaps the mayor and council should consider lowering that to perhaps 1% or perhaps 0.5% to encourage people that are going to develop their property to comply with our zoning. I saw quite a few towns that, by the way, I did check this with the League of Municipality, their website, and what some towns are trying to do, inasmuch as developers only understand money, is to encourage development that complies with the master plan and the zoning by having a low development fee, and of course have the maximum of 6% if you're not going to comply with zoning. There were quite a few towns that had done that also. But if you had changed the percentage for developing property not in accordance with our zoning to 6%, I'm happy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kramer. Anyone else on this ordinance? All right,
Okay.
seeing none, April.
We have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-25.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Juan? Yes. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
And next is ordinance 2019-27, an ordinance creating a new section under Chapter 23 for hazardous materials collection. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this ordinance? No? Okay. I have a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-27.
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2019-28. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 26 regarding property maintenance. Would anyone like to comment on this ordinance? Okay. A motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-28.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2019-29, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 31 pertaining to the Shade Tree Commission. Do we have a motion to, or does someone from the public want to comment on this ordinance? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
And then do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-29?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
And then last is a motion to table ordinance 2019-30.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
And next is the public session.
Okay, anybody from the public want to come up and speak? Yes, Sandra.
Yeah, that's all right. You can hold in your hand. It's fine.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing has changed on our beach. Football is flying everywhere, soccer balls, rackets swinging, large men running while looking up at the sky, not watching where they're going. The weekend before this last one, Tom, who spoke right after me on this subject at the last meeting, managed to coerce a lifeguard, and believe me, I don't blame them for this situation, into stopping one football. Again, it required the lifeguard climbing down off the stand and going over to the fellows throwing the ball, apologizing and explaining that someone complained. They don't do this when they blow the whistle when someone takes a board into the wrong part of the water. They blow a whistle, make a motion that is always understood, and if the person has a question about what happened, they have to walk over to the lifeguard stand. I had some young guests this past weekend. By young, I mean in their 20s. who, as it turned out, went to the beach at Point Pleasant and came back and told me that they threw one football once. The lifeguard blew the whistle, made a motion that they easily understood, and that was the end of it. So apparently they can do it. So maybe our beach supervisors could go there and watch them and see how to do it.
Business Administrator Kirschenbaum, would you like to comment?
I sent out the email, I sent the ordinance out to the chief of police, to the head lifeguard, and to all of our disciplines in town. I will talk to them again, but I've sent it out, an email, right after our meeting last time. So they are aware that it's not permitted on the beach. I will address it once again.
Thank you, I appreciate that, but giving lifeguards discretion on this doesn't work. It has to be,
The ordinance has to be rewritten. The
Yeah,
ordinance-
it's in there as discretion so,
when you've got footballs crashing into the sand 2 feet away from toddlers, you've got large men running, they're looking up in the sky for the ball, they don't even see where they're going. It's not, apparently somehow at Point Pleasant, they were told, no footballs allowed, and that's it.
I will address it again.
and one of the things that we're going to look at over the off-season is the ordinance and really discuss it with the head lifeguard, chief of police, and take a look at how we have to change that, take a little bit more discretion out of it.
I met with the chief, and there are so many ordinances that have to be reviewed, just so there's no cross messages, so we're going to take care of that in the off-season, but I will once again send an email for the remainder of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, come on up.
Mark Pfeiffer, 319 Fifth Avenue. Speaking about lifeguards, over the weekend, the lifeguards at Fifth Avenue were really great. There was a riptide, and it was contained where they could let people stay in the ocean to the left of them and to the right. But it was great, and it probably lasted for about 20 minutes, but they just did a great job with that. When you're revisiting the parking, I know last year at the council meetings was some discussion about charging at the marina for parking.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can revisit with that? I mean, I just think like we could probably charge $2 an hour down there for people to park. They might go to the Marina Grill for 2 or 3 hours. They can do it. You know, we give free spaces to the boat owners and maybe a reduced fee for customers of the commercial fishing, you know.
Well, that's something that we're definitely looking at because, like, even down at the beach, those are premium spots right at the boardwalk. So there's premium spots right around Marina Grill also. So we are definitely taking a look at that. There's some of the problems that we've had where the kiosks that we have, we might be changing companies because of the real issues that we had. We found out we had a service contract that was almost $30,000, and come to find out it only included parts, and the labor's like $300 an hour, so it was crazy. But so we might be looking at changing companies. That's one of the things that we are definitely taking a look at because down at Marina Grill, most of the parking around Marina Grill is taken up by their employees, and that's why we want to keep the meters down at the beachfront, is so that we take the meters out of there. All of our employees will be parking at the premium spots on the boardwalk. So we're definitely going to take a look at that during the off-season down at the marina, because at least around Marina Grill for the premium spots, it's, if you want a premium spot, you pay. So, that's something we're going to definitely take a look at.
All right, great. Regarding the beach, too, there's just some inconsistencies, and this is probably something for next year, almost at the end. But like when I was on the beach, and we have the ordinance saying no tents, no canopies, only tents we permit are 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot, and only single pole umbrellas no more than 90 degree. On the beach the other day, somebody had this big red tent set up. And, in the morning they come by and they check for your passes. So I just said to the police person, could you just ask the people next to me next time, don't bring the tent. You don't have to tell them to take it down now, but just let them know. And he said, no, tents are permitted. He said, canopies aren't. So I said, well, I don't think that's the case, but I'll double check. And I go up, when I leave the beach, I go up, and the sign right there says, no tents permitted, which those signs are incorrect. And when I was biking in Spring Lake the other day, they have the exact sign that we need. It has the exact wording of our ordinance. So maybe it'll make it easier for the public, you know, for the beach police, if we just use that proper wording. And Ed, I'll send you an email on that,
Thank you, sir.
okay?
It's one of the problems, I think the chief can explain some of the situations that we have with that tent ordinance. We've changed it again this year. What's a tent, what's a canopy? We want children protected, but we also don't want tents overtaking the beach. So the chief wants to expand.
The tent ordinance, the tent complaints we received last year were quite numerous. Size of the tents are a lot bigger today. The 3 foot by 3 foot tent is not in the ordinance, it has been changed.
Oh, it did change?
The ordinance was completely changed in the spring for this year. The purpose of the tents that are down there are to protect certainly young children, and the 4-post canopies are not allowed. So the single tents, they have the single tents where they have sandbags all in place, single pole tents, which personally I agree with, so wind doesn't catch them and strike somebody, because we've had more issues with umbrellas flying and hitting people than tents. But if you take a look at the new ordinance, it's been very narrowed, and I have not received many tent complaints this year at all.
I was on the website, I downloaded the ordinance, and it still specifically says, and I just downloaded it this week.
Yeah,
It says single pole, 90 degree, and infant and toddler tents, 3 by 3 by 3.
There
That's
are
what it
200,
says.
and John, our multimedia director here, there are about 275 pages that have to be changed on that entire website.
Okay.
We are doing that now. We're trying to change the ordinances. We're trying to meet and change the conflicting ordinances that we have. We're trying to put the new ordinances that we passed. It's a huge, huge challenge to try to get everything right. So if we could talk after the meeting.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And, yeah, I have 3 grandkids. I have a 14-month-old, I have a 2-year-old. When they come, I take an extra umbrella. So
Right.
I have 7-foot beach umbrellas, single pole. I put them up. If I have 3 grandkids there, I put up 3 umbrellas. So, but the people with the tents, I mean, they're blocking the view. So what happens is then nobody sits behind them. So you kind of have like less beach space, because then they go right up to the front. You know, I mean, if they're further back, no big deal, but they're blocking people's views too. It doesn't seem right, so.
We'll sit down and we'll take a hard look at it, and the chief will instruct his employees to do what they have to do on the beach.
And if you look,
Yeah.
sir, if you look at the ordinance, if you look under beach rules, there's certainly a lot of conflicts on the ordinances as we update them. There's quite a few updates that we've already discussed, myself and the administrator. So there's conflict in the ordinance, but there is a tent ordinance that was updated, which I believe is online.
Yes, if you go the same section you were at, looking at the ordinances, on the left-hand side, you go all the way down to the bottom, there's a folder that says pending codification.
Oh, okay.
Those are all the ordinances that were adopted this year that have been transferred in yet. They're still
Okay.
working on that.
And then we just need to coordinate that with our website, belmar.com, because that just says no
Yes, sir.
tents.
We
Okay.
agree.
By the way, the new 30-second video promoting Belmar, I thought it was very well done. It was really good.
Thank you.
No, that's our multimedia director. Anyone else? Tom?
Tom Volker, 527 8th Avenue. I want to thank you guys for what you've been trying to do to keep our taxes as low as you can. So I really appreciate that. And I want to just ask a question about last year's notice that went out and this year's. This year's does not contain the statement, "This is not a bill for advice only." So am I to take that to mean we pay on these? You see what I'm saying? It's,
No,
That
there
doesn't
has
exist.
been a problem. We just got, after all the bills went out, we just got notified, and maybe April can explain what happened. It's the company that we use to produce these things. April?
Yes, with the software company that we use, there was a glitch when they pulled the file to print the bills.
Okay.
So you got one that says advice only, or it doesn't say advice only?
It doesn't say that,
But
I mean, you would assume you pay it.
Your taxes are paid through your mortgage, or no?
I know that in my case, the mortgage company would get this, and I don't know whether they would pay it or not, because it just doesn't say do not pay it.
Right, so, yes, so if you have a mortgage and they escrow money for your taxes,
do, yep.
they have the correct file, and they'll be paying it like they normally would.
Okay, so it's still that you don't pay these.
Right.
You get a
Yeah.
separate bill.
And we're discussing with the company to see where the problem was and try to rectify it, whether they got to send out all new tax bills or whatever they got to do. But we actually just found out last night when we had a couple calls on it, and then we started to check it. Even mine is messed up when it got to my house. So
Okay.
What we're going to do is, like April explained, we got, talked to the tax assessor and our tax collector. We're going to put all the information on the website. We'll have John do that tomorrow to make sure everybody's understandable of what happened with the bills.
Super,
A computer glitch, and we're right on it.
thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to know is, I heard today that we have a wellness program for seniors where if I'm a senior and I'm handicapped in some way or I have other challenges and I'm alone, I'm just by myself, that I would be able to call the police department and get on this wellness program, which allows me to call in every day to say hi or how I'm doing. And if I forget to do that, the police will visit me
yes,
to make sure I'm all right. Is that true?
yes.
Okay.
We have cards for those, for you to fill out,
Okay.
and the police will get them, yes.
Okay. I didn't know that program existed, so if you could, in your next notice, send that around. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Really super. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. Anyone else? Yes, Jim.
Hi, Jim Bean, 612 16th Ave. The seniors were asking if the petition is being considered or not.
Yes, we're looking into all angles. The chief of police has been working on it, so, and you're fully aware that it's a state road, so we have to comply with what the state regulations are.
Okay, do you think anything this year is going to be done, or you won't know in time?
Chief can update us on that.
Letters have gone to the state requesting an additional on-site meeting for resolutions or, what options we have. So we're still waiting to hear back from the state for an on-site meeting. Originally, they told me a month for the first meeting, which we actually got a meeting within a week. So as soon as we hear back, honestly, I have all the photographs here, I have the,
Yeah, I believe.
so
Are speed bumps a viable option?
no, they are not.
So they're definitely
The state
off
will
the
not
table.
consider the speed bumps on that road.
They are off the table.
Yeah,
Okay.
the state will not allow them, period.
Okay.
So,
Also, I have a question on the redevelopment that you were talking about today. The area that you're talking about for the parking garage, is that considered an area of redevelopment? I know it gets so tricky, all these different areas where, like the 9th Avenue Pier, the mayor had control over the developer and he made all the decisions. Is the property that we're talking about also have that control, or is it something that to be done via ordinance?
Well,
Or via
it's our back lot
resolution?
here that they're talking about, and that's a part of the Seaport redevelopment. So, and it's not going to be any backdoor deals or anything like
Understood.
that. We're going to do it all full out in the public. We're going to look at everyone that wants to do something in the Seaport redevelopment, and that's how we're going to move forward on everything.
But does the mayor have control over the developer, like the 9th Avenue Pier
No.
was? So it would have to go through, okay?
Yes.
that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Maria Rondinaro, 1246 Pine Tree Way. I just wanted to follow up on the ATM machines at the boardwalk. Is the software working yet to use the credit cards?
What happened is the bandwidth.
It's the bandwidth. It's Verizon's
Because
problem.
everybody's on the beach on their devices, and it's cutting out and that's what we think the problem is. So we're going to be working with Verizon through the off-season to figure out how we can rectify that problem before next year. So we're looking at all the different options. But what it is everybody that's on their devices down there, we don't have enough bandwidth down there, and it's cutting out our stuff. So that's something that we're going to have to really take a look at.
And that wasn't a problem earlier in the summer because now there's more people? Is that what the case is?
No, it was a problem the whole summer.
Yeah, but it started
Right from the start.
Okay.
Even with the parking meters, I mean, we can't even, there's a lot of days we can't issue any kind of parking tickets because the bandwidth is cutting. We don't have enough down there, and it cuts out for the officers to find out who is paid park, and, so it's been a problem. We're going to have to work on that.
Okay. I mean, is that buying something more from Verizon that we need? What
No,
what
Verizon
is
just
that?
doesn't.
No, hopefully they
don't
pay
have
us.
it.
Yeah, we're not buying it.
Okay, and
Hopefully
I'm
they
just
pay us.
asking because, at least my generation and certainly the ones that are younger than me, we don't use cash. We don't. And we use our phones to pay for things. So the idea of saying you need cash on the boardwalk is like, why don't we pitch our, horse and buggy or whatever it is? Like, this is, it's ridiculous.
Believe me,
Not
I'm
only
with you.
that, but it costs everyone who, takes out of the ATM machine $3. And that's, for a lot of people, that, is just above and beyond with our already increased beach prices.
Well, we
So-
put it down there for convenience. I mean, the credit card machines were cutting out left and right, so, they can't use the credit card anywhere. Instead of making them walk over to 7-Eleven or Dunkin' Donuts, we put them down there for convenience and to get us through the summer.
Okay, yeah, I would highly recommend that we not, make sure that we have that problem settled by next summer, because otherwise we are going to lose our beachgoers.
That's up to
I mean, that's
Verizon.
a real big issue for the
Yeah,
younger folks.
you understand, that's up to Verizon, right? The beach director and I were just having this conversation, yeah. If they were installing 5G, that would probably take care of the problem. But they're not doing that in the foreseeable future, and they're not gonna make any repairs on old technology, because they're gonna spend all their money on 5G, right? Just tell those kids to quit using Spotify and watching videos on the beach. I mean,
Or on Facebook.
Then it's all, yeah, right. Then it's have all the problem.
Yeah, I think we're past that. Where we can do that, Tom. I think you know that, having kids of your own, we're past that. Also, I'd just like to point out, since the last meeting that you've all had, we've had 3 mass shootings in our country. And I think it's very important that as leaders, that we are offering to our town, our state, a message that we won't tolerate white supremacy, we won't tolerate hate, we certainly won't tolerate hate crimes. I know our police do fantastic work. I feel so supportive knowing that we have Officer Fabian in the elementary school and all of the officers that are around there. But it's important to us residents to hear it from you, to hear it from the police officers, that we are a diverse town and that we love it that way, and that we're going to protect our town. Well, thank you.
Anyone else? All right. April, seeing none, we have to go in closed session, correct?
Yep, first give a motion to close the public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have a resolution authorizing closed session. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas there was adequate notice of the public, to the public of this meeting, and whereas the Borough Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is pending litigation in the Lake Como Pipe Project, and minutes will be kept of the closed session. It is anticipated at this time that the above subject matter will be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists, and this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Councilman Juan? Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Okay, so after the closed session, we'll be returning here just to close out the meeting. There will be no other action taken.
Yes, and thank you all for coming out.